What is up, Facebook world? This is Kimberly and Conor Treacy
Hey guys.
with Big Red SEO. So we were attempting to get a new laptop to work with the camera, and we found that the camera doesn't work. So we have jerry rigged it because we're kind of good at that with technology, jerry rigging things for situations. So bear with us if the video goes fuzzy. We do apologize. We were prepped and ready for a different technology system. It just didn't go that way. So just roll with it and have a good time. So we've got some good things to cover today. Conor has some specific industry updates as well as recommendations. For those who have followed us before, he has a list, which is super, super exciting. I get super tripped up on lists and to-dos because sometimes his version of lists is like bullet points in general. So just a quick recap, what we're here to do today is, as a husband and wife team that own and operate Big Red SEO, we specialize in SEO services as well as Google AdWords, and then we also do website design, but we specialize in WordPress website design and not. What we found earlier this year is a lot of people were requesting us to step forward as business owners, husband and wife team, as well as just people in the industry and marketing in general. And if there was any tips and tricks or any advice, we actually just opened this channel for that. So if you have questions as we go through the videos and enhancements, feel free to leave a comment. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like it. If you want to share it, we would love the extra love, but it's not necessarily required. But this whole entire environment is actually built for you on what information can we provide you guys in like bite-sized nuggets, if that makes sense, that you can apply in your business, in your marketing, in your life, maybe in your relationship. Who knows? I don't know. So let's start with, how is your week going?
It's been a busy week.
Yeah.
It's been a very busy week. I don't see the audio sensor thing on here. Do you see one?
If anybody can hear us, feel free to let us know. So you've had a busy week so far.
Yeah. So a busy week overall. Lots of updates, lots of Google things happening. Some of the big stuff that's going on there, SSL certificates and things like that. As you type, the whole thing just bounces away.
Cool.
So,
cool.
Yeah, so lots of different things happening that, just wasn't really expecting. Some Facebook crap happened and some Twitter stuff is going on.
Talk about Facebook. Last weekend, I got so jammed out on doing research on social media specifically because this guy wants us to go into social media management for our clientele. And I was like, before I even consider that, I want to research it and do some in-depth research just to figure it out. I feel like I know enough to be dangerous. But I wound up blasting through all of Saturday doing research, and I was like super lit up. So when I came in, I had to remember to put my SEO, Google AdWords, website design hat on so I could still get projects done. But this week was a super busy week, and it's hard to believe July's almost over, which means it's already 6 months past the year.
That means Christmas is coming.
Oh, he loves Christmas. You started talking about Christmas back in April, essentially. It's like counting down for the days.
Yeah, but it's not that I like Christmas as such. It's the marketing stuff has to be in place.
Yeah.
So
you do like Christmas though.
No.
Like you don't necessarily like the presents, but you like the Christmas season time.
No, I just like my Christmas day when no one's going to call me.
That's why he likes it. Because we shut down and nobody calls. It's like crickets. Everybody wants to take time off.
Nobody calls Christmas Day. It's kind of nice.
Oh no, we're probably going to have somebody call us on Christmas.
Yeah, it'll go right to voicemail.
Oh my gosh,
so you know,
I already feel it. But, so busy week, good projects. What kind of updates can help business owners or freelancers or people that tune in today? What did you find?
All right, so I got a handful of things, and as Kim said, I've got some
notes, guys. Super exciting.
So there was a handful, and here's the crazy thing is that I now have to be able to read my notes, and that's always a challenge. One of the big ones, there's a couple of big ones, but one of the big things that changed
hey Bruce
this week. Hey Bruce. Changed this week. Google AdWords is now rebranded to Google Ads.
Yep.
So
that's going to be so hard to remember.
Yeah, we've seen that come in the last couple of weeks, but now that's finally in place. The other thing that they've done is if you go to Google Analytics, so google.com/analytics would be your normal thing. Now you're presented with a whole new login area and it's called the Google Marketing Platform.
Is this different than the last time they did a revision on the
Yes.
dashboard? Oh, goodness.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is strictly just on the login screen. So before you would click the sign in on the top right-hand side, and now you've got to go under business, and then from there.
Goodness.
So what they've done
Maybe
is
a good blog article for you.
Yeah. Well, what they've done is they put everything all under one roof. So you've got the Google Hangout stuff, you've got the YouTube, the analytics, the Data 360 Studio, the Google Tag Manager, the Webmaster Tools.
Yeah.
So everything is all now in one big dashboard, and that's kind of nice.
That's cool.
And at the same time, it hasn't been this way in 15 years.
Right.
So it's going to take a little bit of time for everybody to get used to.
Yeah.
But so that was one that changed. The Google Ads, of course, that is now Google Ads and not Google AdWords.
Which is cool play for them, because when you do a Google search right now and there's ads, there's actually, I think they're testing the color green. So there's like a little green outline and it's green text that says ads on it. And they actually changed that not that long ago. It used to be a lot bigger, and then for a while there was no color at all. So they've been
with the box
moving stuff
and shaded
around.
out. So AdWords, I mean, AdWords works if
Google
you do
Ads.
it right. Google Ads.
Google Ads work. That's the new terminology.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard for you as well as me.
It's going to
be like Google AdWords, because I even did it in the intro.
Sure.
I said Google Ads. AdWords.
You know, one of the tricks, years ago when somebody talked about the Google Webmaster Console, and they were talking about that, and then it became the Google Search Console,
I remember
and you
that.
could tell who was a new person to the industry
Who was
and who was
older.
older. Now AdWords, whatever. So anyway, one of the other big updates earlier this week.
I think you could say that for LOL and all the abbreviations too. Just FYI, you could tell the old people versus like my mom. Call my mom out on this. I did LOL in a text message with me and my brother. She was like, "Does that still stand for laugh out loud?" And we both like cracked up, because like for her, she's older, and it could not necessarily stand for LOL anymore. It did for us, but who knows?
Anyways, so one of the big things that updated this week, it's the Google uploads. Every now and again, they'll upload different guides and different policies and procedures and whatnot. Allows us to be able to have a peek behind the door to figure out what's going on. So one of the big updates that were done this week was the Quality Raters Guidelines. And
that's interesting.
Specifically what that had to do with, it had to do with the staff at Google and their procedure, their steps on what they consider you're shaking the whole place.
It's cool. Just roll with it. Roll with it.
So what those individuals are doing, or how they rate whether a website was good quality or bad quality.
Right.
So staff at Google all the time are doing searches.
Yeah.
And then based on the results, they'll give it a yes or a no flag as to did it provide the answers to the person. So we've been talking about searchers' intent and what the intent is of the person. Well, there's no actual way to measure intent. There's no scientific way to actually measure what was the intent of this particular search.
Sure.
It's black and white. But with the ratings and the guidelines, you can see all of that. So now there's a document. You can go to, actually just go to Google, do a search for Quality Raters Guidelines. You can download that document. You'll see exactly what they allow, what they don't allow, and the steps that we have to follow. So that was a big one. There was a period they uploaded it, the next day it was gone.
They do that a lot. Like they did,
was
they take it. Well, what was it last year? They uploaded it, and within like 3 hours, it disappeared. And then we didn't download the first one fast enough, right? No. But then, of course, us just being geeks and who we are, we definitely went through and found what they changed from revision 1 to revision 2. Yep. Just because, like, that's who it is. Like, this is our industry, so we have to know, like, us having the knowledge of what's coming down the pipe, how can we shift, how can we change for clientele, it definitely helps. So we're those, I think lawyers do that with contracts, right? Like, they highlight what's changed and what's not changed.
The contract I
revisions.
Just changed
over and that's over. An interesting
and I catch the word and instead of or. And so anyway, so that was a big change.
Cool.
There's other guidelines out there. So if you do a search for the Google Webmaster Guidelines, or the SEO guidelines. They have some stuff on that, or search engine guidelines. The SEO is tough.
Yeah, I would say the SEO guidelines, make sure you pay attention to the date and make sure that the date is validated by somebody that's important. Less important, somebody that's valid. So make sure it comes directly from Google, Bing, something like that. You can find these other big operation companies like SEO Moz. They might have a version of that.
So we know Kim's been in the industry a while. She called it SEO Moz. They changed their name to Moz 3 years ago.
Anyway, but people are, well, here's the deal is a lot of people would know Moz, but they might know to type in SEO Moz. So anyway, the point being is make sure that it's somebody that actually has authority within the guidelines and it's not just some freelancer creating guidelines on their blog.
Check the download links. Make sure it's coming from google.com or support.google.com or something like that. But yeah, download those guidelines. It'll give you a peek inside as to what's going on. Some of the other stuff that went on, there was an announcement yesterday. If you're running events on your website, you can now get a little bit of a boost inside of the search engine results pages.
Oh, interesting.
So before you had to do a lot of schema markup and modify things like that. Now, if you have your event and you do what's called a rich snippet, so you've got the title and what the description, the date, and the time, Google can figure it out for you, and now they'll give a boost to that. So that'll now show on.
And I think that helps because when people look online for events, like sometimes they can land anywhere from Eventbrite to something else. So it's kind of cool that they're letting the actual websites get the credit and the extra boost in the situation too.
Yeah, or Google is bypassing the third party and taking all the money themselves.
Honestly, like it's their deal, isn't it? It's like their gig. So
you know, it is. It's their sandbox, and we're just playing in it. So so that was another item on there. Do you want me to keep going?
Well, you can, or we can switch gears just a little bit. So I, over the last week and a half to 2 weeks, got to reach out to a lot of people that are solo business owners, solo entrepreneurs. And this doesn't necessarily mean that they don't generate a huge amount of income. It just means that they've chosen to operate their business as a one-man shop and or outsourcing to specific tasks and situations. We went through this with ourselves. So we've been doing this gig at 8 years now. We had a team at one point. We scaled back because it was like, man, we really want to get back into the essence of what we love to do and who we want to work with. But what I'm seeing as I'm coaching and I'm mentoring these individuals is they're really being hard on themselves for having to pivot and shift in business, right? And here's the deal about business in general. There's always going to be an evolution, or there's going to have to be a decision that you're going to have to make. How can you pivot and shift and get, whether it's your revenue goal, your clientele goal, website traffic goal, whatever your goal is, you're going to have to pivot and shift at some point in time. If you wind up looking at your business and it's exactly the same in 12 months from now, there might be a chance that something's maybe not as streamlined as possible, because our whole purpose of being here as business owners is to grow, to thrive. Who else can we serve, and so forth. But what I found is they don't necessarily give themselves credit for everything that they handle and they hold. Like you hold and run a lot of different hats within the day, within the week, within the year, within projects, within research, clients and communications and tickets, not to get you overwhelmed on the video live. But
about to go into meltdown.
And same thing for me, but the same thing for these other business owners as well. So here's the deal with all of that. So say for whatever reason your prospecting is kind of dropped to the way because you feel like you're in the weeds of working in your business. Like I have been guilty of that. In 8 years, I do that pretty often where, and for me specifically, maybe it's for you too, me specifically, I love the sales process, but I also love the creation process. So I've had to like create this model for myself where I can still do telesales and prospecting and reaching out, but then also create and actually produce the results that the clients want as well, right? And I think sometimes a lot of business owners think it's linear, like they can only do one and excel at one. And I'm here to tell you, you can actually do it both. You can do all of them. It just comes down to time management, something that's worked for us that I did years back and I totally forgot about it. So that's the other thing too is if you're hitting something in the business and something's not flowing or going right, reflect back on what you used to do and what did you put to the wayside, or maybe what did you just stop doing. For me specifically, it was theme days, right? Like I used to theme my days out. I had marketing days and I had social media days and project days and finance days and all that stuff. I had all these different time slots and days. And what it does is it keeps the business going, because I don't have to worry about last minute, how do I change and what do I shift? I even have project management days for Conor, because like if he's got a heavy project, I know I'm going to have to provide him support and then answer questions, or just go get you lunch. Like that's like you have me go get you lunch all the time, which I'm totally down with, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's lunch, sometimes it's breakfast.
Sometimes it's all in one because you only get one meal.
Yeah.
So, but the whole point is that if you own a business, or if you're an entrepreneur, or you're in any type of role at all, give yourself some credit for everything that you're doing, right? Like celebrate the wins, even if they're small and tiny ones, but also celebrate the big ones. Like big win for me this week was getting my desk organized. I feng shuied my desk at the office and at home, and it made a huge difference. I cannot tell you how many notes I threw out and things that I shred and things that I got rid of, because honestly, we're trying to go electronic anyway, but I was fighting the system. But I have to give myself credit for the fact that, hey, I took really, really great notes, but now I have to figure out how do I get them in the system and how do I organize them. So that's one big thing I want to make sure that everybody that owns a business kind of gets in their heart as well as their head, is give yourself some credit for what you're doing. I mean, if you're first year in and you celebrated 12 months, 90% of businesses shut down their first year. They don't even make it, right? The other part is after that extra 10%, they rarely make it past year 3, right? So like if you're in it and you're in the long game, whether it's you started big and maybe you're a little smaller, or maybe you're small and then you go big and then you change and evolve, just give yourself some credit and determine what is it at the end of the day that you want to do. Because a lot of times businesses, specifically business owners, are in business for the freedom. So determine what is your version of freedom and what do you want that to look like.
And the counter argument to all of that.
Because we always counter, but it's awesome.
So we were watching Small Business Revolution.
Small Business Revolution, awesome show. I like it a lot. We debate a lot on that show.
So it's Robert Herjavec and Amanda something. She's from Deluxe. So they go in, they make over businesses and help people and bring a town back to life and so forth.
Small towns.
But we were watching last night. So it's on Hulu?
Hulu.
So we were watching last night, and I wrote down the quote on my phone this time.
Oh, nice. Notes again.
So the quote was, just because you're good at something doesn't mean you should own or run a business.
Oh, interesting.
And more what the point behind it was that yes, you're in business and yes, you're really good at it. Maybe you should work for somebody else, which, if you have the business mindset, you don't want to do that. But the other side of it is know when to outsource. Like for me, taxes, accounting, not my jam.
Food.
Food. If I can just bring the chef in and let them cook for me, that's my thing. So, so even like the lawn care, we've got lawn care at our house. Shane, you're probably
watching,
hopefully working, but you might
with
be
the nice
watching.
Weather.
But he takes care of everything. I don't have to worry about, what fertilizer do I need? Or do I need to do the overseeding? Can I push a mower? Yes. Would I? No.
No.
So
that is very true. And I think from their area, what they were saying within this specific episode was some people can figure out how to run a business. Other people are so good at what they do as a task that it might be better for them to have a manager or operations. So if you do own a business and managing the business specifically is just not your jam, you might look at getting a business coach or finding somebody that can actually manage you if you want to own your own, right?
Or just someone to bounce things off of.
So
I ran with the hosting company that I ran.
Previous hosting company.
All of that was all policies and procedures. So we'd written the stuff out over the years. And this is the policy to follow. But the first 3 years was
Just
All right,
figure it out.
whatever.
It sounds like Big Red SEO the first 3 years too. Like, we were switching CRMs and doing different stuff all around. But I think at the end of the day, sometimes you got to do that.
So figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that offers some kind of advice. Something else as well is if you have a specific product or you have a specific service, find out what you're really, really good at, like the thing that makes you shine, that just like trips your trigger, and figure out how can you master that even more and send it out to people. So like one thing that we're really, really, really like truly good at, besides all the other stuff we do really well, is research. We know that we can go in and we can research a specific industry. We can provide a roadmap, a strategy, a game plan. We can provide clarity to something that's super complicated, right? We can answer questions to a level where anybody from any experience can understand it. That's an area that we excel really, really well at. So we make sure that we master that. And sometimes what mastering looks like is making sure that the client understands what we're trying to say, and then asking them what part did they understand, so we know to add that to our script or add it so we can communicate to other businesses as well.
Good example of that yesterday. So we had a meeting yesterday with a client. We were doing keyword research and going through all of the reports. So at the time we did an advanced audit to figure out everything that was going on, what's happening with the competition. And I wrote up a 19, 20-page document of all the things that I can see, all the things that I can prove, all of, what direction we're going to go and so forth. And then I have an Excel file of all the keywords of, I don't know how many competitors they had. They must have had a dozen competitors on there. But basically everything that was in there. Well, we went in for the meeting, and the two gals, they paid attention. Everything was great for the first, I want to say 15 minutes.
No, they lasted a while. They lasted a while. It was at least 45.
Okay. So they had paid attention along, and then you could just see the disconnect, the angle of where I was going with my documents versus where they were at. They were just getting overloaded. So knowing when to just start, not necessarily skipping sections, but knowing remove certain sections.
Well, and here's what I will say. People within our industry or freelancers or people that have a technical expertise, right? Because I work with you a lot on this. And before, as we're driving into the meeting, I'm like, look, Connor, like the key hint is to take whatever you generated, let them have all the material, but back it down to a fourth of the material, right? And you actually did really, really well. They stuck with it. What we did was we actually broke up the conversations back and forth, kept engagement going back and forth. But if you are a very technical person, you got to try and make sure that you tap into the person that's in front of you. So if they all of a sudden start yawning, it doesn't necessarily mean you're boring. It means their mental capacity is tapping out to the point where they may not be on the same page. All you got to do is wrap it back around. Sometimes we just ask questions and get the dialogue going, or we laugh about something or joke about a dinner or something like that, and it kind of like gets people relived in again, and then you continue forward as well. But there is definitely a crystal clear line of when people are just like mentally, they can't take anymore. And these gals, they stuck with it all the way at the end. They learned really, really great data. They saw the value of what they invested in us to be able to research and do this. They have a strong idea of what we're doing moving forward. The other part of it too is they know more about their industry than they ever have, right? They also were completely mentally exhausted by the time we were done. So they probably went home, had a beverage, maybe a drink, probably took a nap, who knows. But in any business, it's a matter of making sure that you can communicate to the person sitting across from you as well as who you're presenting the information to. Because when this guy sits next to another research guy, he can go like all 19 pages, 54 pages, whatever, and they're all on the same page. Got the data, so. And it's hilarious because I'm the one that starts yawning, and I'm the one that's like, oh my gosh, I can't take anymore.
Yes, and Kim away from the table. But that kind of ties into my next thing on stuff. Was there was a discussion on Twitter, sales versus marketing. And just how that plays off of each other. And the sale is somebody who goes in and says, I can double your income, or I'll double the revenue, triple the revenue. That's the sale. Give me this amount of money and I'll make this happen. And then you had the marketing guy who went in and said, just think of what the Super Bowl ad could be. So the marketing was, if we do all of this, then we should get all of that, or how awesome this will be. And then you got the other guy, the sales guy, who actually had the numbers to back it up and said,
Sure.
if we do this, we will get that.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you know,
I think you got
which
to figure
side
out
does
what
the CEO give the money,
you
know?
got to figure out what works for you. For us specifically, like we try really hard not to do this hard sales process, right? Because we understand that SEO can be kind of complex, but where we shine is we step forward because we know we're going to serve an industry or serve a business and help providing value and mainly clarity. Like we're really good at providing clarity, and we know that we're good at that, so we hone that and make sure we master it. But really good information.
Yeah.
So
Unlike
I need to sell you on doing housework by doing marketing or doing sales. We'll talk about that later.
The conversation would have been perfect for the guy who called me yesterday.
Oh yeah, we're done with that. We're going to carry on.
I'm not going to mention the name of the directory company that tried to get me to buy into things. But I had
what else is on your list?
I had all my numbers. I had all my stats.
He doesn't
and I said,
like telesales.
You can see the same numbers I can, so why are you telling me to invest? Because
on with the list. On with the list.
I got the poke.
Yeah, he got the poke. I'm like, stop. So what else do you have on the list that would help people, specifically business-wise or industry?
Yeah, so
you got a lot.
I do. I two other big things.
Thanks for joining, Casey.
Hey, Casey. Two other things that have come up here just this week. Google has been focusing a lot more on the people also ask. So if you do a search, let's say you're doing a search for how to use a hammer. Guilty. Searched for that.
You seriously did a search on how to use a hammer?
Yeah.
How long ago? Were you married or dating then?
It was yesterday.
Why did you do a search for how to use a hammer?
I wanted to see what was coming up.
More importantly, did you actually use the hammer?
No.
Or you were just searching the search?
I don't own a hammer.
Oh my God.
I don't own a hammer.
We own 4.
Oh.
We own 4 hammers.
Yeah, they must be in Kim's closet. I have no idea where they are.
To your defense, your dad did hide them when he reorganized the garage. Yeah. Sorry, Daddy, if you're watching.
So I did 3 searches. One was how to use a hammer, how to use a screwdriver, and how to nail a nail. Yes.
All the stuff he does not do.
So the thing was that basically what I'm getting to was what the results were that were coming back. There was a YouTube video in there.
For which one? How to use a hammer?
How to use a hammer. There's a whole technique I didn't know about. But anyways, you're not supposed to do it there. You're supposed to hold the handle way down here.
Oh my God! Yeah, because it goes.
Yeah. Anyways, so.
Oh my God.
Inside of the results, and you may have seen this.
They say you learn something new every day. You learned 3 things all in one.
I did. I learned Google indexes everything. That's what I learned. But going all the way back to my point is that there's now, when you do a search for something, there's now like 3 or 4 questions underneath in a gray box that says, generally it's in the form of a question of what other people have typed in. You can click that and it'll expand and it'll show more information. Well, if you take those questions and make sure those are within your website, then you're going to start ranking for those phrases.
Which we've always benefited. Like we've always suggested frequently asked questions.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
How to use a hammer. We could do that one.
First off, I can't believe you actually Googled that. And how did that question even come in your head?
I needed how-to information.
I know. So long story short,
how to row a rowboat. I didn't do that.
If you're going to produce content on your website, a great way to get within a specific search engine ranking as a question is to provide the question and the answer in the website.
Yes.
Yeah. Like how to use a hammer.
Like how to use a hammer. And how to use a screwdriver. That is on there too.
Okay, what else you got?
Wikipedia recommends an electric one.
An electric hammer? They have an
screwdriver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they do have electric hammers. Well, it's like they're nail guns, so they're kind of different.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Let's see. Slack. So a lot of the freelancers and designers and whatnot that are here.
Yeah.
Slack is what we've always used, or you've never really worked on Slack, but we've used that as a messenger app. It's a great group application that you can have chats with different people.
Yeah.
There was another one out there called HipChat, and I'd actually never used it, but Slack purchased HipChat, and they're going head-to-head against Microsoft and their group chat
Interesting.
thing. But basically, those are on there. But the big news out of that was that in the process of the merge, Slack also changed their blogging platform from Medium to WordPress.
Interesting.
So they did a full rebrand. They did a full
There's a lot of people doing rebrands right now, especially big companies. Like it's a shift getting ready to happen.
So that was a huge thing that happened there. Gutenberg, if you use WordPress, Gutenberg is coming out. It's the 5.0 version of WordPress.
Yeah.
I've been talking about it for weeks.
Right.
It's still a couple of weeks away.
Such a weird word. Gutenberg.
It's the Gutenberg
press.
press.
It's like, it feels like whenever I say it, it feels like Goonies, like the movie from Goonies. Like
just
that's I know. Same thing with Transformer and anyway.
So there is a button inside of your admin panel. It'll come out in the next release where it says try Gutenberg or upgrade to Gutenberg. Don't click it.
Yeah.
It's going to break your website.
Don't click it.
And I say it's going to break it, but there's a very high chance that it's going to break your website. So run that on a test
especially
environment.
if the website's been customized by any like if they did a direct like download from like WordPress or whatever, it's just default and they switched out text, it may or may not mess you up. It is such a big change that we would recommend not clicking the button and not messing with it just
Most
yet.
of the themes purchased like from Template Monster or
they're
Theme
not prepared
Forest,
for it.
there are going to be issues. So but if you do want to check out Gutenberg and how it's going to change the entire industry, there's a website called testgutenberg.com. Go there, play with the interface, but
or just call us.
For right now, don't click the button.
That's the hook. Just call us.
Yeah, there you go. So those are on there.
Cool.
So what else you got?
Yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about. So this is specific for business owners that maybe were in one location, but you're about to move and or you already moved. You need to make sure that you clean up your records with your name, address, and phone number. So there is a thing out there called directory listings. It's actually a part of SEO process. Typical cases for directory listings, you have to have a storefront or you have to have an actual office that the Postal Service recognizes. But whether you're in the same building and you're just moving 2 suites over or 1 suite over, or you're moving across town or in a different state, you need to get those records cleaned up. If you don't, what happens is you wind up having multiple different addresses, names or addresses specifically, and Google gets super confused on what is the primary, where is the primary information. We've had a lot of businesses that are in the process of moving. So like usually fall is the time that leases are ending, right? I think ours comes up in November. So just make sure that you update that information specifically within the directory listings. If you need help with that, reach out. It's a service we provide. You don't have to go with us by any means. It's not a hard sale for you. You could do it yourself. It's just a little bit time consuming, but make sure that you go through that process. And
on that point, there's really only about 30 or 40 big directories that you need to be in.
Sure.
And they will feed the information out to other places. It takes a little longer to do that, but it will drip the information out. You can do them all in one shot,
right?
But you can just use an aggregator in that regard.
Sure. Yeah. So. Something else that I found this weekend that I thought was super duper helpful is it's regarding social media in your actual business page. There's a rule out there called 80-20. So the thought process is present information that's 80% of value, a resource. It could be quotes, testimonials, information. 20% of what you post is actually sales process, or you're trying to ask for the sale. If you have a Facebook page for your business and you're constantly just always asking for business, you're probably going to turn off some of your Facebook fans specifically, or people might just start like just completely unliking your page, which we don't want for anybody. Figure out what kind of value add that you can offer them, as well as resources. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. I've actually brainstormed with 4 different business owners in the last 2 weeks on different stuff that you can share across the way, and kind of help other people grow their online presence as well. So something to think about and consider. Anything else you have on your list? Any questions? If you have questions, feel free to post them in there.
Drop them in there.
HTTPS.
2 big things just in the last couple of days. Facebook stock.
I so love his notes.
So the Facebook stock dropped almost 20%.
Yeah.
They lost $120 billion in a
That happened on
24-hour
Wednesday.
period.
Yeah, that happened on Wednesday. There was a lot of people that got their Facebook accounts compromised on Wednesday.
Oh, really?
On Wednesday morning, and then the stock plummeted. I don't know if you knew that or not, but there was a
Didn't know
lot
that
of
part.
people that actually got theirs compromised. And it's like right at the beginning of their privacy, like something they're supposed to be cleaning the stuff up. So
some of the stuff on it was, well, there was a bad earnings report that they weren't going to meet certain numbers, but the GDPR, which is the Global Privacy Protection Regulation, something like that, GD.
Yeah.
Anyways, it has to do with the way your information is saved.
Kind of like a witch there for a
More
second.
like with in Europe in particular. But basically, Facebook said that they're still rolling that process out.
Right.
And of course, with the lower earnings and everything started to tank out. So $120 billion to lose in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Last week, I was talking about the fine from Google. And Europe fined Google $5.6 billion for non-compliance. I'm like, how do you even think of a number like that? How do you even fathom that? And then this week, $120 billion. It makes no sense to me. But
keep your nose clean. Keep your nose clean.
The other thing that happened this morning, Twitter stock has dropped 19%.
Interesting.
I don't know what their numbers are because I don't care about Twitter.
Yeah, you like Twitter though. You like Twitter. You like how fast things go. It's just sometimes it can get overwhelming. What I will say from business owners was, go ahead.
Sorry. The problem that I have with Twitter is that
it's about to rant.
Twitter hasn't figured out how to monetize their business. So it's an inflated number based on speculation. Yes, they have some ads and you can sponsor some posts, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't have a foundation. For me, it doesn't have a foundation. Now,
there might be a lot of people that
I'm not your stock advisor or anything else. Buy gold.
I know a lot of business owners that don't use Facebook at all, and they only use Twitter. Like, I do know that. So I think you got to try and figure out what you need and what you want.
Dave's on here. You don't use Facebook at all. You're here only because you can get to our business page because it's public.
Maybe. Who knows? When it comes to social media for businesses specifically, I see a lot of marketing people that are telling everybody to register for all of these social media platforms and do all of these. I would say to pick one that you can master and then add another one either next quarter in 6 months and then add another one.
If that.
Still snag your company name information so nobody else gets it, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But so prime example, we met with a client earlier this week and all of the competitors, including themselves, didn't have a Pinterest page. So if nobody else in the industry is doing it, it may not even be needed or it may not even be popular. Now, if they wanted us to research to find out would Pinterest benefit them, then we're down with doing that. But at the end of the day, if they're not Pinterest users and they're not Pinterest people, it may not make sense for their business, right?
But still get their business name.
Still get their business name in the Pinterest area.
It's more to protect from any negative stuff that goes on.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
Having that control is a big part of things.
So thanks everybody for joining us.
Wait, I got one thing before you go.
Were you going to say you love me?
No.
Were you going to say you love me? Here, I'm going to pet you for Todd. Todd, I'm petting him in case you watch it later.
The big one that came out was Chrome version 68 came out.
I love Chrome.
Yeah, well, you can't figure out your bookmarks, but
Chrome's so fast.
So basically, any website that doesn't have an SSL certificate on it, it shows not secure.
Yep.
And it's going to do that here for the next 2 months, I think, 2 or 3. And then the not secure will go away, or the word secure. So if you go to a website now, it should say in green, it should say secure. So that's going to go away in a couple of weeks, or a couple of months. And then it'll just have not secure. So every website will be secure, basically. So
if you look up in the browser right now in the URL bar where it says facebook.com/BigRedSEO, to the left of it, it says secure with a lock. If your website doesn't say that, send us a message. We'll give you a couple options to get it secured. We did send out our newsletter today or this week. High five. first newsletter we sent out for our company specifically. It was awesome. It was over like 60% open rate. I was super excited. We only had like 3 people unsubscribe. That's even more exciting, right? Like nobody likes to be unsubscribed, but it just happened. So it's cool. We're not everybody's jam. We're down with that. But if you do not have secure within your website, reach out to us, because it's going to be something that's, it's required right now. And there are rumors and talks that Google will actually just not even load your page at all if you're not invested in secure networks. So they're really trying to tie rankings and stuff. Yeah, they're really trying to tie up on the security and just making sure that your end users are taken care of. So anything else before I interrupt you and say goodbye? Anything else? We have a date night tonight.
Not sure if I talk about that one or not.
Go ahead. No, that's probably not. It's like not very good news. It's super sad news. We won't talk about that today because we're super.
We're in a good mood.
The easiest way. No, let me handle it. Let me address it.
Okay, Kim's going to deal with it because I'm insensitive the way I do things.
I don't say that. I'm not going to put your words. I'm not going to say that. That's. If you want to say that about yourself, that's cool. So here's the deal: is whether you're in our industry or you're in business in general. It is really, really important to make sure that if you are having struggles in life or struggles within a situation, that you reach out to other people and have conversations, right? If you are working from home, make sure that you do not stay too isolated. Make sure you get out and you connect with others. Make sure that you have resources on if you have a mental health issue, or if you need somebody to talk to, or if you need somebody to reach out to. That's the easiest way that I can say it. There was actually somebody within our industry that decided to go ahead and leave this earth by their choice. And it's really, really sad, super sad news that happened because it was one of your mentors for sure.
Yeah, definitely, the articles, the content this person wrote. I mean, Jordan.
I prefer not to say the name. Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's
but it is what it is.
He's well known in the SEO industry for everything from pay-per-click all the way through. Oh,
you could feel the energy all shifted down.
I know.
You could feel it all shifted down.
But yeah, so it's kind of a big deal within our industry. The crazy thing is that when you look back at this year in particular, we've had 6 or 7 big names in the SEO
in our
industry.
So and what happened was, he told me this morning. So we just sat down. We were literally sitting down as I'm driving, and we had
I went alongside the car. Kim doesn't let me in the car in the morning.
We had a heart-to-heart discussion on me just making sure that Conor is taken care of within this industry. He is in a lot of research. He is in a lot of data, a lot of deadlines. I think all business owners feel that, right? So communication is very, very important. And if you do need to talk to somebody, just make sure you reach out. Like, that's the easiest way to say it. Whether you're a business owner or not a business owner, there's multiple different resources out there for you to have connection as well as get the resources that you need. So that's the easiest way. Sorry that we're ending it on a not so happy note, but it was very important.
It's Friday.
We have a date night. That's super happy. We're going to watch a comedy show. I don't know what they're going to present, but I will probably snort laugh. I do snort laugh a lot.
It's a comedy show with a 2-drink minimum, so
I don't drink. You'll have my drink. So Conor will have 4 drinks minimum. Yeah, so it's super excited about that. The weather's supposed to be halfway decent this weekend. We are coming in tomorrow to build our website design. We are redoing our website.
Whole new website. It's a website in a day.
Your website in a day. So it's going to be a super wicked challenge, but it's going to be super fun too.
It's start and finish within 8 hours.
Yeah, within 8 hours. Talk about challenge. This guy. I'll have to get food for him 3 times a week. But 3 times a week. You only get 3 meals a week. I'm a day. But yeah, so
that's an upgrade from where I am now.
Maybe if you go get the food yourself. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We will be back next Friday at 2:30. If you have any specific questions, feel free to go ahead and put them in the comments, or you're welcome to go ahead and email us, and we'll make sure we do the research and bring the answers back for the community. Again, this is more for you than anybody else, so if you benefited of it, go ahead and put a comment below, or make sure you at least like the page or like the video, so that way you can continue following us and we can continue providing resources. So At that, we wish you the best of a weekend in the last weekend of July.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Christmas is coming.
School's about to start again. That means traffic. Everybody prepare 15 more minutes for traffic because of school buses. All right. Cool. Have a great one. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Bye now. Click the button.
In.